Prior to the initiative kicking off, we were emergency actioning about approximately 80 to 90 mental health consumers a month. So we're taking them into protective custody, transporting them to the hospital by police, and then getting them assessed and or treated. Since the initiative has been rolled out, we've managed to reduce that number of police emergency actions by approximately 50%. My name is Glenn. I protect people who live with mental illness. This is my experience. Yeah, approximately we're called to about 300 plus jobs a month that have some sort of mental health element to them, like someone suffering from a mental health dysfunction or illness. Under the legislation, we have what we call a protective custody power. So if someone's self-harming or is a risk to others, we can get called and we can take that person into a protective custody, what we call an emergency action, an EA, and then we can transport them to the hospital. 3 years ago, we identified the need to change the way we approached mental health consumers and make it more of a health issue as opposed to a policing issue. There's three main parts of the initiative. The first one is around the enhanced mental health training, and that training is made up of mental health clinicians and psychiatrists and experts in the field presenting elements of the program around signs and symptoms of mental health, the risks around suicide, and we have a scenario-based training where we have a presentation around observing, speaking to a mental health consumer that's suicidal. He talks about his experiences both with police and mental health. It gives that practical story and how police sometimes were positive and sometimes were negative, and then what could work well in the future. If I can do it, an old grumpy grey-haired copper like myself, and take on board the advice we've been given and show a better way to do this, that there's no reason you can't also. And that's the feedback we get from a lot of the members, is that yes, it's a great, probably one of the best courses they've done in terms of giving that support and offering that advice. So when the next day I go out and deal with this mental health consumer, it won't be as stressful, it won't be as confronting, it won't be as demanding. The other element that we've had a lot of success with is been the clinicians in operations, and now we have the capacity to refer the job in its early stages to the mental health clinician in our operations area or communications area. So they're in a position where they can give first-hand advice to police attending to a mental health consumer. One other element of the program is around our multi-agency response plans for a consumer that is presenting regularly to either police, the mental health, ACT and or the ambulance service. And we have the capacity then to invite all those agencies and anyone else we think could offer something or contribute to the MARP or the response plan. And that could be the care of the person, and then we'll design a plan or a response plan around that consumer, and then that will be loaded or uploaded to our database, ACT Mental Health database, and also the ambulance database. When you look at it, each emergency action, when you take into account the time at the location, so that could be an hour or 2 hours, and then you have to transport them to the hospital, the consumer has to be medically triaged before they're taken to the mental health assessment unit. It can be half a shift nearly of time taken up with a consumer, whereas now we have the capacity to call on the clinicians in operations. They can give first-hand advice, either even speak to the consumer. And we've had times where the clinician has spoken to the consumer and negated the need for police to attend at all. So police are then free to go and do something else and patrol the streets and fight crime, and freeing up police resources to do what we're trained and designed to do.